Day number 2 at the circuit in Zolder. Hello and welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Round 6 here in Belgium at the Volumix Truck Grand Prix. And someone is parking a golf cart. He's not running over me. That's the good news. So we're here ahead of the Iveco tendon. As you can see, after the short night, it is time for breakfast and also time for the qualifying for all of truck drivers. And we're so happy to be back here in Belgium. What a nice venue it is. We also see the fans back in the paddock also getting some nice pictures this morning. And we will have some nice pictures for you. Thanks for tuning in for our qualifying. Yesterday, oh, what a beautiful drone shot that is. From the rainbow we saw over the paddock. What a beauty. Oh, colorful, very, very good. Because we had some rain, of course, at the Saturday's opening and also on race 1, but soon after that, this morning, the fog came out. Water foggy start in this morning, but as you can see, you can't see barely anything. But right now, it is to be cleared up ahead of the qualifying. So beautiful drone shots from Lewis. Thank you for that. And we had a bit of steam coming off in between Jamie Anderson and Theo Calvé, both competing, of course, for the title of the Promoters Cup. So they're very close by and also very close by on the racetrack. But too much contact. Theo Calvé ended up in the gravel, and Jamie Anderson made his statement very, very clear after the race, of course, with a lot of emotion, but also with maybe a British sense of humor. But yes, very, very clear points. Theo Calvé, unfortunately, had to go up to the stewards directly, so we weren't able to interview him in our live program. But soon after that, I had the chance to talk to Theo Calvé. So, Theo, lots of steam were coming off, of course, from Jamie Anderson directly after the race. I need to say that because interviews directly after the race are much more emotional. You had some time right now to think about the situation in the last corner. What is your perspective?
Yeah, it's really pity to end the race like this because honestly it was a very nice one. I think even for the spectator, the show was there. But yeah, I tried something on Jamie, but he changed the lines on the braking, so he pushed me out in the grass on the braking. So 5 tons on the grass. I don't know if you know what's the hand, but me I know. And we went both out. And it's really pity to have this kind of move because it was really dangerous. But anyway, it's like that, and tomorrow will be a better day, I hope.
He said that you've turned in. Of course, he said he missed his breaking point. I think maybe in contact with Adam, he said something like that. But so do you see that, or so you decide to go in then there?
No. He just tried to defend the position, I think, but. Not as you have to do it properly. I went on his outside. Okay, it's really difficult to overtake on the outside, but who knows? We never know. And yeah, he just tried to defend and pushing me on the brakes, and this is not the solution. If he stayed on the inside, maybe he could stay on the inside. And even Adam could overtake me because he had also the inside opportunity because I was outside. But no, he did differently and he hit me. I don't know if it was necessary because nobody hit him before. We saw the videos and everything. So I don't really know what to say.
So you saw the video. What does the steward say? I mean, you've got your perspective, but the decision is yet to make.
I don't know if it's a good decision or not. I cannot say anything, but yeah, we saw the video. The steward said no further action, like always. But you know, when he pushed me out in the third corner, there was in the beginning of the race there was also no action. So I don't want to say anything, but sometimes you know you have to see everything and after take this good decision. But here, once again, it was not on my side, so it's like this, and we continue racing. It's like that.
Racing is always a family business, and of course your father is involved. And sometimes, as Jamie also pointed out, you're going to him, and I quote him, cry like a baby to your dad. Does that offend you in a way, or do you say, okay, this is maybe a British sense of humor?
No, it's false because I have to calm my father because I was less angry than my father, so I have to calm him. So I don't know why he say that, because I didn't go to my father before to talk to him, so I don't really know why he say that. And he say that I'm a dirty driver. I don't really know what, but I think he have to look himself in the mirror before to say that, because if you see in Moss, everything, all the overtakes were not so clear. And even on the race, you can watch, he pushed me out so to overtake me. So to say things like that, I think it's not fair, and it's also on my father, so it's not really nice to say things like that. So I don't like it.
Absolutely not. But you're talking it out. It starts to rain, so we do stop the interview. Thank you very much, Theo Covey.
Thank you.
And fortunately, no rain today. So yes, that was the statement from Theo Covey. Obviously, you might be mad if someone is talking bad things about your daddy. I will be too, I must admit. But I'm really looking forward for this duel, because in the Promoters Cup they're very nearby. Theo has 248 points and Jamie 236. So it's Theo Covey with 12 points in the lead. Lots of time for good action here, and also for the Goodyear FIA ETRC. We're here ahead of Goodyear, and we do see the Ford F-Max truck soon to be in his job position ahead of race 1. But we will check the lineup, of course, and provide you with all the pictures from race number 2 yesterday. Since talking about it so much, we want to hear our commentators. Welcome, Jess Reichert and Joachim Eberts. I hope your lenses are not too foggy this morning. So let's start with the highlights of race number 2 from Saturday.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much, Christina. And what a fantastic day we had yesterday. Plenty of action, changeable conditions in every single session we had. Qualifying was very, very wet. Race 1, a little bit greasy and slippery. Race 2, well, it was a dry circuit, but the tempers were flared, and it was fantastic action all the way through the pack. Many battles and a lot of overtaking going on. That particular overtake from Norbert Kish around the outside of turn 1 was glorious. Jochen Hahn took a win in the second race of the day. Sasha Lenz winning the first race of the day, and it was a very popular victory, but it was of course a bit of a switch on its head as Sasha Lenz had a drive-through penalty in race 2 for overspeeding. A very scary moment for Sven Volter, but luckily he was okay and Sasha was too. But we had a fantastic action-packed day full of racing, and we're hoping to get more of the same today. Of course, we are now into our qualifying broadcast. The Dutch Truck Racing Championship is currently out on track at the moment. There you can see the two Reeds, two of the drivers that also compete in the British Truck Racing Championship as well. There's a fantastic variation of machines out this weekend in force, and it's good to have other series on the programme with us as well. There are certain race meetings where it's only the trucks that will be racing, and then other times where we do have support categories as well. There is Jamie Anderson. Smiles all around for Jamie today. He had a fantastic day in terms of the first race. Obviously, the second one didn't quite go to plan after the argy-bargy with Teo Calve. He still managed to get a podium in his class as well. But it was good to see, actually, that we had also on the podium Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's making his debut for this season with us. He raced back in 2016 with us at Harama, but the youngster managed to make it onto the podium in his category yesterday. And it was a very popular appearance indeed. You can see the fans making their way up and down the paddock at the moment, getting up close and personal with our trucks. And we're going to get up close and personal with Jochen Hahn, potentially, who's just waiting nearby his wonderful Iveco. Number 4 machine, currently second place in the championship. He fell down to third after the first race when Sasha Lenz won yesterday. And then with Sasha having a drive-through and Jochen winning race 2, he flipped it back on its head and moved back up into second position in the championship. Norbert Kish, though, has a 70-point lead over this man right here. So he's got at least one entire race meeting's worth of points in the bag. So we certainly need to have as many drivers as possible still trying to chase down Norbert Kish, none of them giving up whatsoever. And we go back to Christina, who's still amongst it in the paddock.
Yes, back on the famous golf buggy with Andreas Ahn driving it, and cameraman Mike Fau also taking the stability. So good inside views from Louis over there at the Team Hahn. So we had also the warm-up tomorrow, this morning, and yes, Norbert Kisch was leading that again, ahead of Jochen Hahn and Alberthetti with fastest time 1.58, which is not too fast, of course. It is just a warm-up, but you can see he's also competing in the warm-up, of course, trying his best. And Jamie Anderson was then soon after out of the warm-up. We will see what time he will get right now on P9 if it would have been a qualifying. Shane Brereton obviously needs to put some more wood in his fire, currently not with the fastest lap time, so he went with a 2 minutes time then after Stefan Faas. So then we have the 1 minute 5.8 from Norbert Kisch in this warm-up. We're driving through the paddock. 10 minutes delay means, for example, Jamie Anderson is here having a sip of his bottle of water, and we will have a wave over here. Hello, good morning. Shall we stop? Maybe. Whoop. I mean, why not? Why not have a quick chat with Team Anderson? Good morning.
Good morning.
So, how was the night?
Good.
Refreshing. Have you talked to Theo Calvé this morning, or do you just say, well, we leave you there and we are here and we have some space in between us?
Yeah, I think so. We've had a few words this morning, but this is about it. This situation got resolved by race control, and for us, this is the end of it.
So no further action, of course, but more action on the track today. At qualification, you came out on warm-up, of course. You were out, but no problem with the truck, or?
No problems. We just put the new tyres on now, so we'll see what happens in qualifying and hope to get a good standing for today.
The track is drier than yesterday, but also the moist from the fog came down. What can we expect from the substance on the track?
Yeah, it's going to be very greasy on the top layer. Hopefully, with the trucks going around now, they're just going to start heating the track up a bit, and then obviously we'll end up getting a bit more traction. But probably we're going to see quite a lot of loose on the back to start with until we get the temperature into the track and the tyres.
Thank you very much. Good luck, Jamie.
Thank you.
So, a good morning here at Team Anderson. Very relaxing indeed, because still a bit time. Normally they would just sit in their trucks already, be preparing, but as I said, due to red flag at the Dutch competition, we do have a 10 minutes delay. Jazz, 10 minutes delay means much more words for you right now. Maybe you can tell me what are you seeing, and maybe we try to get another interview here and give you some new insights.
Yes, indeed. It's never nice having a delay in a motorsport event, but at the end of the day, that's just how it goes sometimes. It was unfortunately a good friend of mine and a friend of the championship as well, Luke Garrett, who we've had racing with us before, that had broken down during the session in his bright orange MAN. So unfortunately, it was him that brought the red flag out and obviously had that delay. He's been racing in the Dutch Truck Racing Championship this weekend. There's a number of drivers out there as well. Another British guy. We saw the Reeds earlier on, both out on track at the same time. And also Adam Bint as well, who's a lovely lad that I met at Thruxton for the first time during last season's British Truck Racing Championship. But as of right now, all the drivers and teams, like you said, Christina, just have to sort of wait around and just wait for the session to come about. There's Sascha Lenz. He's certainly in high spirits, despite having the drive-through penalty in the very close call yesterday with Sven Walter from Don't Touch Racing. But Sascha Lenz made that all-important start yesterday morning in race one, went round the outside of Norbert Kisch and took the lead pretty much straight away. Someone that's not having the best of weekends so far, but hoping to turn it all around today, is Steffi Halm, and she's down there with Christina.
Yeah, Sunday, a new day, new hoping for getting into the points. Let's maybe forget yesterday, but still talk about it. In Most, you ended up with 5 points, one digit. We're not too used to see that from you. Of course, it was due to some collisions you had. But how do you perceive the data you catch from yesterday, and how do you evolve your performance today?
Yeah, yesterday we had a little bit of unluck. We changed something on the truck for the qualifying in the wet condition, and it didn't work. So I come into the pits to put it back what we had in the warm-up, but it starts to rain a little bit more, and most of the trucks leave the track and go into the pits. So it was more wet than before, and not possible to go for a faster lap time. That was really a pity, and 12th place is not a good position for the start. So after the bad weekend in Most, I just try to not struggle in the first corner, don't have any accidents, and try to finish the races what I did, but for sure the position was not good enough. I hope that we have a better plan for today, and I think so. Tomorrow morning in the warm-up it felt good, and I hope that we can run a good lap time now in the qualifying.
Could it be a more stable setup today? Because the weather conditions yesterday was, as you said, a bit of a gambling, though.
Yeah, for sure, but it's for everybody the same. But in the qualifying yesterday, it was important to run the lap time in the beginning, and in the end, it was not possible. So when we changed something on the truck, it was too late to run. For sure, today it will be from the beginning until the end the same on track. So if you have a mistake in the beginning, you have the chance to make another lap. And yesterday, in the end of the qualifying, it was not possible.
So a bit of a backup then maybe in turn number 1, as you said. Which is the most difficult turn on this circuit, Zolder, which is very narrow sometimes?
The beginning of the track, you have a lot of space, but when you go through the little straight and up the hill, you're in the forest. Sometimes there you have shadow, and also when it starts to dry up, it stays a little bit more wet in that area. And there it's very, very tight. So if you have a fight and you go with 2 trucks into the chicane, then for sure you will not make it without any contact.
Thank you very much. Good luck for today. Thank you very much for the insight back from the woods and the shadows into the light, into the paddock. And back to you, Chas.
Yes, thank you, Christina. And yeah, it's certainly something we all noticed yesterday, that Steffi was definitely struggling over the course of the afternoon. It really wasn't her day, to be honest, but I'm hoping for her sake, and of course the team's sake as well, that they have a much better day of it today. And it's never an easy thing to go into a race day and not know what's going to come your way, but at the end of the day, that's what we all love about motorsport. It's the unpredictability of it. Some people can just have good days and some people can have bad days in motorsport. It can go one way then the other very, very quickly. Nice to have a quick wander around the paddock though and have a look at everybody getting prepared. We can hear trucks firing up now. Everyone's going to start getting back out onto the circuit very, very soon, because we have qualifying just about to start, where everybody in the session will go out for 20 minutes trying to set the fastest lap time they can. And then the top 10 qualifiers will then go into the Super Pole session, which will be another 10 minutes and another chance for drivers to rearrange the order of the top 10. Now, these little moments here where you can see the trucks making their way out of the awnings through the paddock, it's one of the coolest things to see over the entire weekend, because a lot of the time you'll have fans in and around the paddock that haven't seen truck racing in person before, and they'll see these absolute Goliaths of machines make their way out of the awnings, and they'll think, no way, they're the racing machines we're here to see this weekend. That is awesome. The size of them is really daunting. It's great to see them, especially so up close as well, moving through the paddock. We saw Antonio Alberthetti get going there, and then of course Norbert Kish following him as well. Those two teamed up in the Teams Championship for this season. There's 4 teams of 2 where drivers have basically just paired up for the Teams Championship. The only ones that have identical looking machines are actually Bagheera ZM Racing with their 2 Freightliners. Norbert Kish and Antonio Alberthetti make up Revesh and T-Sport. They currently lead the Teams Championship by nearly 80 points. Actually 81 points, to be fair, is how much they lead it by. Jochen Hahn and Steffi Halm are teamed up as De Bullen von Iveco. And then we have Sasha Lenz and Shane Brereton as Team Lowenpower. And then, of course, Theo Calve and Adam Lachko, Bagheera ZM Racing in their beautiful Freightliners. There is Jamie Anderson making his way out onto the circuit then in number 33. And we wait now to see who else will emerge. Heinrich Clementeca has already made his way out onto the track. There's Stefan Fass, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, Teo Calve. You can also see as well Andre Kurzim just behind, who finished third yesterday. Got an overall podium, actually. What was his 13th podium of his career in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There is our championship leader, Norbert Kisch. He's been absolutely spot on once again this year. Amazing performances so far. 74 race victories in his career. And 163 podiums from 334 starts. Norbert's looking good to take the championship again at the moment. But of course, things can change. And we have a couple of race meetings left to go after these two, or after this one, I should say, before we can confirm who has won the championship. There you see Shane Brayton, the gorgeous purple Apollo tyres TOR Truck Racing Team MAN. It's very striking purple livery, certainly stands out amongst a number of others. He's not had the best season so far. He's still third in the championship in the Promoters Cup. He's the reigning champion of the Promoters Cup. But he's just not quite stayed in touch with Jamie Anderson and Teo Calve. Jamie did take his time to get going a little bit this season. They had an engine swap in the early stages of the championship, and it's really helped them along. It became very clear that their old engine had become a bit of a hindrance in time, where maybe it wasn't quite as up to scratch as they'd wanted. And that's the thing over time, you know, these engines can lose power the more they get worked on and have a mismatch of components from different parts of the engine's lifespan. It can affect it negatively in the long run. Sometimes it's better to just get the entire unit out and change the engine. There's Adam Lachko, number 55. He was actually fastest in Q1 yesterday. He did a 2 minutes 12.279, but then when it came to Superpole, it was Norbert Kisch that went fastest with a 2:12.077. Adam was nearly an entire second slower than his qualifying one time when it came to Superpole, and he would start fourth on the grid. Steffi Halm, as mentioned, qualified 12th yesterday, wanting a lot more from today's racing. There you can see Jochen Hahn making his way down towards the end of the pit lane as well. Teo Calve and Andre Kurzim have slotted into their necessary boxes. And there is Jonathan Andre, driving truck number 66, the Lion Truck Racing MAN. And there is Jochen Hahn. And as you see, right near the end of the pit lane, all ready to go. Everybody is being coaxed down to the end of the pit lane and also being told they need to get ready to go. And in championship order, I believe they're being arranged here. Norbert Kisch gets put next up. Well, he gets put to the front, I should say. He is currently leading the championship, as mentioned, by 70 points. Which is pretty remarkable, to be honest with you. We still have a couple of race meetings left, but the maximum you can get from a race meeting as a driver is 60. You get 20 for winning races 1 and 3 because their grids are organised by qualifying performance. And you get only 10 points for winning races 2 and 4 because of the reverse grid. Basically, there's not as much merit in winning those races if you are one of those drivers that can get reversed to the front of the grid and just stay there, basically. Sasha Lenz and Adam Lachko move forward in line. And there is a quick peek inside the tiny cab in the Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliner of Adam Lachko. Gives us a bit of a nod as he gets in the zone ahead of his session. Antonio Albertetti lines up behind. And here we go then. The green light is on at the end of the pit lane. And everyone is getting ready to go. They're all making their way out now bit by bit. And they will all get on to their necessary warm-up laps. And make sure that everything within the truck is at its optimal operating temperature. The tyres are up to temperature. And they're all happy to go for it on a fast lap around the very tricky Zolder circuit. 16 corners around here. And the corners come at you thick and fast as well, to be honest with you. The drivers don't get much rest around this circuit. There is Norbert Kish leading the way. He's not going to hang around, though. He's just going to get on with it. Disappear off up the road. He gets the benefit of clear track in front of him. As we heard from Adam Lachko yesterday, though, the clear track ahead of him was actually quite the opposite of what he wanted. Because he was the first truck to get to any of the wet patches, all the water and the dry line hadn't been sort of separated away from the surface at that point. So he was the first one arriving on the scene. He couldn't brake as late, he couldn't push as hard. So he had to be very careful, and that is why he didn't benefit from being the first one out in Superpole, and that's why we didn't see him grab pole position in the end. But as we saw yesterday, second place on the grid, if you get it right off the start, can give you the race lead in the opening couple of corners. Sasha Lenz was amazing off the start in race 1, took the lead from Norbert Kish and held it from then on. It was a fantastic scrap all the way through between the pair of them. Great respect, awesome patience by Norbert Kish, and mega defensive driving from Sasha Lenz. And a wonderful reaction from him as well after the race, where I once again had to apologise for his language, but that's what we love about Sasha. While we do have to apologise for it, I love the fact that he just says it how it is. He really does just say it how it is. We've had it a few times with just Sasha, to be honest, and it is great. It's just fantastic character building stuff. I love it. It's one of those many elements when we get to speak to the drivers in situations like that that show you that they are just people. You know, they're not these alien-esque figures that don't resemble people at all, that can only do one thing and drive fast. You know, they are real people, fantastic characters, and they have great pride and emotion invested in what they do. So, everybody making their way round turns 1, 2 and 3. Turn 1 is called East. And then we've got the Sterenwacht Bocht, which is turn 2, Canal Bocht, which is turn 3, and then Lucien Bianchi Bocht, which is turn 4, where Jochen Hahn has just emerged from there. Bocht basically meaning turn in Belgian. Norbert Kish hard onto the brakes into the Kleiner chicane, clips the left curb, clips the right curb, which isn't quite as harsh. So you'll see the drivers keeping it flat out as they hop, skip and jump their way through there. Over the crest of the hill at what's known as Sacrament Schelling. Around the left-hander called Butt. Yes, literally. Villeneuve chicane, though, turns 8, 9, and then 10. The right, left, right. Look at Norbert Kish into shot completely sideways. Love a bit of that. He then goes around turn 11, which is the Terlemen Bocht. Long sweeping right-hander. Quite a lot of camber on the inside of there. Drivers need to be careful, because as soon as it levels out again on the exit, if you've got your foot flat to the floor, you'll spin up the rear tyres and have quite the moment. That's how tight the Villeneuve chicane is. On board now with Jamie Anderson. Right, left, and then right again at turn 10. There's the penalty marker on the left, and look at the camber here as you go through the right-hander. It's like a bowl almost. That right-hander is, whoa, Stefan Fast throwing the Scania into the Villeneuve chicane, really launches it in. Well, Stefan's a great character off the circuit, but as you can see from his driving, he's a hell of a character on it as well. Let's see what the time is from Norbert Kish then. We're surely going to be a lot faster than we were in qualifying yesterday. 2 minutes 12.077 was yesterday's pole time. Now a 1:57.132 sets a new lap record around here in European truck racing. Wow. The lap record was a 1:57.275. Now sometimes within a certain operating window, cooler conditions can be better because the drivers can push for longer, the tyres don't overheat as quickly, and you can actually get quicker times on the board. It seems like they've got a fantastic set of conditions at the moment. The sun is out, but not blaringly obvious. Jochen Hahn is second. Teo Calve's gone third. Fantastic time from Teo. He's done a 1:58.567. He's ahead of Antonio Albacete, Sasha Lenz, Andre Kurzim and Adam Lachko as well. Jamie Anderson down in 8th place, Steffi Halm 9th. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is 10th at the moment, ahead of Shane Brayton. Let's not forget it's the top 10 that go through into Superpole. You can see a few of the drivers, well, most of the ones on screen, have slowed it down now to just have a bit of an in-lap. But Norbert Kish already, with literally the first timed lap on our screens today, has just set a new lap record around Zolder in racing trucks. That is phenomenal. He's beaten it by about 1.4 tenths of a second as well. That's an excellent lap. Absolutely excellent. And he's half a second clear of Jochen Hahn, who of course will have a lot of confidence after yesterday taking that race win in race 2. That's the thing with drivers, you need to have that confidence wherever you can carry it. We look now at Stefan Faas making his way into the chicane. Love the way that you can see the weight transfer working in these trucks, and look at that, kicking the back end out sideways on the exit into the Terlemann Bocht. Now everybody filtering their way through turn 12, one by one. That's the Boulderberg Bocht, and then the Jochen Rindt Bocht after that, which is a quick left-right section before the final chicane. There is Jonathan Andre, truck 66. It looked amazing in the gloomy conditions yesterday. They had the Lion Truck Racing machine, gorgeous bright yellow MAN, certainly glowing in what was a very dark morning at Zolder. Is everybody coming into the pits then? Adam Lachko, Antonio Albacete, Steffi Halm, even though she's in 9th place, she nips into the pits. So too does Jamie Anderson. There is 8 tenths of a second, to be fair, between Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and Shane Brayton. 8 tenths just there, and to be honest, from Steffi Halm back to Shane Brayton, there's 1.2 seconds, so maybe she feels safe, and Jamie feels safe as well, that they will definitely make it into Superpole. Of course, those times within the top 10 are not the final times that they will carry into the session and onto the grid, so they're not their definite positions, but all of the top 9 are in the pits now. So only 10th place Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is still out there on track, out of the drivers in the top 10 anyway. We saw Shane Brayton was still on track. Stefan Faas, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, Jonathan Andre, all still pushing to try and get more time where they can. Look at that, jumping over the curbs there. Stefan Faas is really pushing. You can tell that he's given it everything in this qualifying session. He was really confident after taking his first Promoters Cup race win yesterday. There's Heinrich Clemens Hecker. He makes his way towards the Kleiner chicane for the 3rd time. Throws it into the left-hander, and whoa, you can see Jonathan Andre getting that MAN sideways there. I think he's gone too hot into the chicane. He's going to lose a bit of time now. As you can hear, tyres squealing even more. It does look like the conditions are still a little bit slippery out there. You know, it's not the hottest of days already. There is Steffi Halm, parked up in the pit lane. Now, what improvements are we going to see? Stefan Faas crosses the line. He was 3.3 seconds off. He's only improved by a couple of thousandths of a second right there. He moves his time up to a 2 minutes .440. There's only a couple of drivers, actually. Only the bottom 4 drivers have a lap time over 2 minutes at the moment. As there across the line goes Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. And his fastest time is a 59.5 at the moment. He's just on a 2 minutes .205. Heinrich Clemens Hecker crosses the line and also does not improve. He was 0.6 slower than his best time at the moment. Here's Jonathan Andre. Nearly ends up at Spa-Francorchamps. He goes that wide out of the final chicane. But he's still learning. He's still getting quicker and quicker in this machine. Obviously taking over after we tragically lost Anthony Janiak earlier in the season. Just over a month ago now. It was a massive shock to the entire paddock and the entire community as well that follows and surrounds this championship. But in what the team believe would be Anthony Janiak's best wishes, they will complete the season with that number 66 truck. And Jonathan Andre has taken to the task of being the driver for it for the rest of the season. So Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is right on the cusp now. But Shane Brayton, the next closest driver to him, has come into the pits. So Shane not challenging him yet. Jonathan Andre there, powering past Heinrich Clemens Hecker, number 25 Scania. Oh, you could hear it spinning up the rears there as he got on the power, moves to the left-hand side of Rodriguez. Look at the way that they cornered down there around Butts, as it's known. Hard on the brakes, nice and smooth into the Villeneuve chicane. That looked like a great run through there, actually. He only needs to improve by about 1/10 of a second to gain a position on the grid ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker. There you can see the very busy pit lane. Well, it's busy in the way that there's a lot of trucks there, but there's not a massive amount going on. Everybody's just waiting for their moment to go back out on track, I guess, in the next session. Those of which that have made it through, anyway. And there is Shane Brayton coming back down the pit lane to go out for another run. There's still 7.5 minutes left of this session, so it's definitely not over yet. And there are a few drivers that could maybe do with a bit of adjustment to then go out and improve on the times. Now look at the marshals there and look at the size of Shane Brayton's truck as it comes out. Just goes to show these things are not small racing machines at all. They're a lot smaller than the trucks that you see on the road, but that's only in terms of height. You know, they're still the same length, width. It's very impressive watching these trucks. The minimum weight in the championship is 5,350 kilos. And over 3 tons of that has to be weighed over the front axle alone. It's incredible. There are around 1,200 brake horsepower and over 5,000 newton meters of torque. It's a bonkers torque figure. But it just shows you why they spin up the rear wheels so much, and obviously with most of the weight over the front end and barely any of it over the rears, it all makes sense when you see these things in the rain. Think back to our visit to Le Mans last year in 2021 and the drifting that we saw at the end of each race when Norbert Kisch and Andre Kurzim had their own respective victories. Their drifting demonstrations were absolutely top draw. Makes it nice and focusing for the drivers as well, of course. It keeps them on their toes, to say the least. With how quickly some of these machines can step out. As into the pits comes Antonio Albacete. Now that's going straight back in the awning, so I'm not sure what the issue is there, but I did see some of the personnel from his team running actually down the end of the pit lane when Shane Brayton was going through. And well, they've got keep on running written above the awning, but unfortunately big shame. Apparently we've got an interview with Steffi Halm actually to have a quick chat with Steffi down there. Apparently there's something going on. Sorry, Christina.
No problem, Chaz. The connection between us was lost. Steffi happens. P9, are you feeling safe ahead of Superpole?
No, I'm not really sure what will happen because Jose Rodriguez and also Shane Brayton went out again and go for a first lap. So I have to check and maybe we go out just for being safe to do another fast lap. But normally it should work. The gap is big enough, but you never know if they made a mistake or it's not possible to go faster. So I stay focused on the times and I hope it will be fast enough for the Superpole.
How many time do you need for one fast lap to be out on track? 3 minutes left, or when do you start thinking about it?
Yeah, when you look at the times, when you go for a fast lap, it takes you 2 minutes. But when you go out, you don't want to push too hard to go on the fast lap. So the out lap should be 3 minutes before the checker flag comes out, because it's enough when you pass the start and finish straight 1 second before the session ends. So I think 3 minutes is the deadline, and then you have to decide if you go out again or not.
Stay focused. Thank you very much, Steffi Ham. Very, very interesting. And she's got the time monitor here and checking out the times. We do too. Chaz, thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Christina. Yes, we've got a lot of drivers that are pretty much on the cusp right now. There's not many of them out on circuit, actually. Only the 3 at the moment. Shane Brereton, Heinrich Clemens Hecker, who we see here on our screen, and then Jonathan Andre as well. All the rest of them seemingly confident that they've made it through to Superpole. Shane Brereton could be the spoiler in the pack here. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez looks like he's just about to go back out as well. He's just now crawling down the pit lane. It feels so slow when you make your way down a pit lane. Even from my time in sim racing, I've known that when you just got to crawl down a pit lane, it can be so painful, especially when you know the full capability and pace of the vehicle that you're driving. And there is Jose Eduardo. He's just going to come out in front of Shane here, but I imagine he will just pull over to one side and wait until Shane has gone through. He doesn't want to hinder his fellow competitor's lap time. Steffi was telling us there that an outlap is about 3 minutes, and to be fair, Jose's just about on the limit of that. I'm not sure if you could hear that, but I'd be surprised if you couldn't. There's a very large whistling sound coming from the number 14 machine. See if we can hear it as he comes towards us at the Kleiner chicane now. Wow, that is a very odd noise indeed. A very, very odd noise. Now, in what is a very, very niche reference, the aviation nerd in me thinks F-104 Starfighter. There used to be an old jet fight called an F-104 that used to, at a certain amount of throttle, make a whining noise like that, and they called it the Screaming Banshee. And that's all that truck sounds like right now for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Portuguese Air Force never had him, but you could argue that with him, I can tell you that. Now, there's a lot of team members underneath, by choice, Antonio Albertetti's truck here. Clearly something has gone amiss while he's been out doing his laps. Currently 4th fastest, but obviously when you get through to Superpole, that doesn't count for anything. If he doesn't get back out there and complete the session, then he will start 10th on the grid. Jonathan Andre there making his way around the outside of Shane Brereton, pushing on. Heinrich Clemens Hecker has come into the pit lane. He's decided that his session needs to come to a close. You can see a number of people all just literally waiting around to go back out again when it comes down to Superpole. Shane Brereton just hoping to improve by 0.8 of a second to get ahead of at least of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and his screaming MAN. As you can see on the left-hand side there, the top 10 qualifiers are the ones to go through. Jonathan Andre comes to the line now. Best time at the moment is a 2:01.431, and he does a 2:01.620, so only 0.2 of a second off. But you can guarantee that he's going to push on again and try to improve one final time. Only 30 seconds left in the session. After this, we'll have another 10-minute session for the top 10 qualifiers to reorganize the top 10 spots on the grid. Anyone now that finishes this session outside of the top 10 is locked into that position for the start of the race. You can hear the tyres being put through the punishment there by Jonathan Andre. These Goodyear tyres can really take a beating. And let's not forget about the retreading process as well. Goodyear have a fantastic process where a lot of the racing tyres that you are seeing on your screens today will end up on road trucks out in the industry after they get retreaded because of the extra sort of amount of thickness on these tyres, as they call it, the extra profile. They get rebalanced and retreaded and effectively reused. So even some of you watching, if you are a truck driver from wherever you may be around the world and you choose to use Goodyear tyres, which we of course recommend, then you never know, you may end up using some of the tyres that you are watching literally on your screens this weekend as the boots underneath our racing trucks. You can see there in the gravel, it's been newly combed after Teo Calve went straight on into it yesterday afternoon after his argy-bargy with Jamie Anderson. Norbert Kish currently fastest, but Teo Calve in third place. That's a fantastic, fantastic time by Teo. 158.567. He's going to hope that he can repeat that one when it comes to Superpole. I can tell you that for free. Across the line comes Jonathan Andre, then checkered flag goes out. Not sure if Shane Brayton's going on for a fast lap actually at the moment. No, he's come back into the pit, so it's literally just Jonathan Andre out there. And he does not improve. It's a 201.860. Best time in the session for him was a 201.431. So it looks like from that session we're going to lose Shane Brayton, Stefan Faas, Heinrich Clemens Hecker and Jonathan Andre. But there is Truck 1, P1, and what a fantastic time that was by Norbert Kirsch. He sets a new lap record around Zolder in a European racing truck of this specification. It's a 157.132. The old record, 157.275. An amazing effort already by Norbert Kirsch, and it just shows how much the conditions have improved since yesterday. It's time for another interview, though, as I believe Christina is going to try and have a word with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and just see what he's got going on at the moment. Oh, he's actually going to make his way back out. Apologies. I've misjudged that one, Christina. I apologise. For some reason, I just thought he was going to sit there for a bit and wait for us, but no. They wait for nobody, unfortunately. But what they do now is they get the trucks down towards the end of the pit lane in the order which they finished qualifying to. So there is a little bit of a benefit to having a faster time than other competitors in that first session. It means you'll be a bit further forward in the queue. And potentially have a little bit more clear air in front of you and less trucks to wait around for. It's all about getting into some clear air around here. There's your top three at the end of the pit lane. Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn and Teo Calve. Behind Teo, we should have Antonio Albertetti. But we're not going to get him in the session, bad look of it. Then it's Sasha Lenz, Andre Kurzim, Adam Lachko, Jamie Anderson, Steffi Halm and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. The youngest of three generations of Rodriguez family. Now there's a bit of suspense before the drivers and teams make their way out. And unfortunately, the other teams will now have to go back into the paddock and prepare themselves for the first race of the day, race 3 of the weekend. But now Superpole gets underway and everyone will move back out on track now that Jonathan Andre has rejoined the pit lane and got off the circuit. Everyone else can then get back on with it. So everyone now back up to temperature and of course back up to speed. Just taking this opening lap to get used to how the circuit conditions are once more. They can change so quickly over the course of 5 minutes. You can have to adjust your braking zone by about 10 meters with just a couple of degrees Celsius temperature change. And of course, dependent on how well you've warmed up the tyres and how much temperature you've put into the brakes, it can all make a lot of difference. Marshall on the right-hand side, certainly enjoying themselves, doing a bit of a march there with the yellow flags. Not sure if you caught that. Might see them as we go through shot. Never mind. Well, Norby's already set one new lap record here this weekend. Can he get under a 1 minute 57 in that big red MAN that is always so dominant in this championship? It's good to see Steffi Halm making progress and moving back into a Super Pole session again. 12th on the grid yesterday just was not right for her. And apparently Antonio Albertetti has had a water pump failure. That's why he's been moved back into the paddock and in the awning. And he will not be out in this session by the look of it. So if he does not get out, he will start 10th on the grid for the third race of the weekend. And there comes Norbert out of the final corner, and you can see just how steep the crest is over the hill here at Zolder. You can barely see the final corner. Well, you can't see the final corner. It's only the fact that these trucks are so tall that you can see them coming around the final corner there. 7.25 minutes on the clock, and Norbert Kish gets his first fast lap underway. Kicking the back end out round turn 1. Takes a very wide line on the way into turn 2, clips the apex, lets it run out wide on the left. Through Canal Bocht. And there's Sasha Lenz making his way around with Andre Kurzin behind him. And then Adam Lachko moving closer and closer to the pit wall as they get in towards turn 1. So tricky turn 1 because the apex is very late. And in most racing machines, you can't really see the apex curb until the very last moment. And by the time you can see it, you have to sort of readjust and judge what you're going to be doing on the exit of the corner, where there's a very big curb, and that can certainly upset any rear-wheel drive machines, even trucks as big as this. Teo Calve is going to be enjoying being this far forward in the queue in a Super Pole session. I still can't get over just how good those Bagheera ZM Racing Freightliners look. The livery is just stunning. It's a very busy livery with lots of logos and branding all over it, but I think it looks fantastic for that. Obviously Teo and Adam running their own separate colourful highlights on the wing mirrors and the headlight surrounds and the edge of the grille as well. Teo running a sort of mid-blue colour, known as Dodger Blue, I believe it's called. And then Adam Lachko running the Dayglow fluorescent yellow. There's Rodriguez making his way through the Villeneuve chicane. Really flinging it through the right-hander at Terlemenbocht. Norbert Kish is clearly on a fast lap. He straight lines it to the start-finish line. All the way over, and oh my goodness me, there's a new lap record again. 156.874 for Norbert Kish. Amazing lap time. 6/10 clear of Jochen Hahn, who has a 157.535 on the board. Teo Calve does a 158.483. Sasha Lenz, 58.029. It's a 59.4 for Kurzim. He goes 5th fastest. Next up is Lachko. He goes 3rd, 157.738. Waiting to see who else comes through. We've got Jamie Anderson putting a time on the board. Rodriguez goes 6th fastest with a 159.177. Steffi Halm is 7th. Anderson is 8th. But Norbert Kish sets another lap record here at Zolder in Super Pole. It's going to take some effort for anybody to beat that. He's 1.1 seconds clear of Sasha Lenz, who's in 4th position in this session, and it looks like after the maybe tiny seed of doubt that we had over Norbert Kish's dominance this weekend when Adam Lachko went fastest in Q1, I think that has all but put it to bed. Amazing time by Norby. And the thing is as well, he's mentioned it before, Norbert has the capability and the confidence in that machine. This harmony between him and that gorgeous MAN. They have the capability to match their race pace to their qualifying pace. You know, he can go out and do these blisteringly fast qualifying laps, but He can do those sorts of laps in the race as well. It's just him driving as fast as he can. I always find it interesting in motorsport when a lot of the time you see drivers put out these blistering times in a qualifying session and then they cannot match it during the race. Yes, of course, there may be a bit more going on in the race and they won't have a clean lap all the time, but there are drivers out there that can match the pace. And it's remarkable, very impressive. Sasha Lenz seemed to be on a bit of a faster lap, but I think he might have given it up in the second sector. He was about 5 seconds off the fastest time, actually, in Sector 2. Jochen Hahn has a purple Sector 2 from his fast lap. And here comes Sasha Lenz across the line now. He won the first race yesterday. Makes his way across the start-finish line. And on to a fast lap. There's that very late curb around turn 1. The misleading thing about that curb, though, is the fact that the actual curb itself goes all the way around the corner. It's not one tiny little pointy bit that you have to clip. It leads you into this sort of false idea that you need to turn in early. You have to be so careful that you don't get caught out by it. It's the same again around here as well at turn 4, the Lucien Bianchi-Bocht. Big long curb down the inside of there, and you want to try and get in as late as possible to maximise the run down this back straight towards the Kleine chicane. But as much as you tell yourself that, and this is speaking from experience in the sim anyway, you tell yourself time and time again, turn in later, turn in later. It's such a scary thing to try and drill into your head, though, to actually turn in later, because you think, I'm just going to go straight on here, I'm just going to have a crash. And Norbert Kish looks like he's on a fast lap as well, actually. He is pushing very hard. He's just done a purple Sector 1, 37.067. He's 6/10 faster than Sasha Lenz in Sector 1 alone. Unbelievable. Look at how much curb he took there, though, through the Villeneuve chicane. There's no penalty marker on that part of the circuit, so he's going to get away with it. Kicks the back end out as he goes left and then right. Teo Calvé carries on and tries to improve on his time. We've got 3 Promoters Cup drivers in the top 10. And in this session, of course, they're able to be spotted by the little P next to their number on the timing tower on the left-hand side. It's basically for drivers that are rated as Chrome drivers. We basically have the equivalent of Pro and Am in this championship, which is Titan for Pro and Chrome for the Ams. But it's based on previous results, basically, the Promoters Cup. As we see Sasha Lenz now coming out through turns 1 and 2, and again he has not managed to improve, unfortunately. Norbert Kish still going on to try and get even quicker. I'm just looking now up and down the timing screens just to see if there are any improvements anywhere in certain sectors that are really setting the world alight here. Teo Calvé has improved his time with a 1:58.462. Andre Kurzim has improved as well, 1:58.963. Jamie Anderson also, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez improves, and so too does Steffi Halm. So everybody has just beaten their personal best, but look how close it is from Kurzim down to Halm. There's a penalty marker getting a bit of a kiss from Sasha Lenz. Still, we have everybody out on track as the timer hits 0. And at the moment, it looks to me like there's a number of drivers that have now backed out from their laps and decided that that is that. Across the line goes Sasha Lenz. Is it much of an improvement, if one at all? His time is a 1:58.466. His fastest time was a 58.0, so unfortunately for him, that is not going to help him on the grid, and he's going to start this race 4th at best, with Lachko, Hahn and Norbert Kish ahead of him. We just need to wait now and see if there is anyone else improving. Doesn't look like it at the moment. Seems like a bit of calm has fallen over the circuit now, and there's not going to be any improvements with lap times. No, a number of drivers are all coming into the pits. So Norbert Kish is going to take another pole position then. That is going to be his 11th pole position of the season. And it continues, does this incredible form of dominance. There's only one driver that's taken pole position instead of Norbert Kish this season, and that is Jochen Hahn, and he took that in race 3 at the Nürburgring because Norby was out of the session due to the black smoke rule, which the championship enforces. Theo Calve's done well there, 5th position. Andre Kurzim up in 6th place, he'll be happy. Jimmy Anderson starting right behind Theo from 7th. With Jose Eduardo Rodriguez 8th ahead of Steffi Halm. And of course Antonio Alberthetti will start in 10th position. That is if he makes it to the race. It depends on obviously the repairs that the teams need to make. I'm pretty sure that they'll get it done, to be honest with you. And now everybody will line up behind the Iveco S-Way pace truck. And they will get led round into the back of the paddock. There are your results then. Norbert Kish takes pole position once again by over 0.6 of a second from Jochen Hahn, I should say. Adam Lachko will start on row 2 alongside Sasha Lenz, and they have a 0.6 of a second buffer over Theo Calve and Andre Kurzim. Jamie Anderson will start 7th alongside Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, his rival now in the Promoters' Cup. He's certainly showing just how quick he is Rodriguez. Steffi Halm and Antonio Alberthetti will round out the top 10 from Superpole, and of course we'll start on row 5 of the grid. Interesting to see there that Antonio Alberthetti's original time that he put in the first part of qualifying was 1.8 seconds slower than what Norbert Kish did, which would have put him 6th on the grid ahead of Andre Kurzim. So he would have been right up there still with Antonio. But obviously with that issue, he will not be going any further into this session and will not obviously get a time on the board. And Norbert Kish's truck has moved over to the right-hand side in the pit lane there, interestingly enough. But down there with a great view of everything that's going on is Christina.
Yes, thank you very much, Chair. So you can see they need to work very, very hard. Unfortunately, Antonio Alberthetti, you will start from the back end of the grid, but it seems like you're getting ready for that.
Yeah, I think the mechanics will fix it. So I think we will start from the back of the grid. But I mean, yeah, it was a shame because I think we have a good pace. You know, I think we couldn't be in the top 4 or 3. But anyway, I mean, that's racing. You know, that's the mechanical things. We have another mechanical issue, so we see if they can sort it out. I think so, and we will do the first race from the back of the grid.
What is to be fixed?
Well, I think it's something with the front pulley of the engine. You know, I think something was wrong. So they have to change all that, and it makes also some more damage on the engine. So they take a little while to do it, but I think they will fix it.
How does that affect your driving? Is that a piece that is to be changed and nothing to be changed at the setup, or do you feel the change entering the truck?
No, I mean this is nothing to do. I mean I think we will have the same setups and everything the same, you know. But the problem is to start from the back of the grid is very difficult, you know. I mean, even if you have a good pace, it will be difficult to go to the top. But I don't know. I will try to make my best and see what happens.
Maybe P8.
I hope, but it's difficult. It's difficult. It's not so easy.
Thank you very much, Antonio Albocetti. Good luck for, and a huge shout out to all the mechanics. They're very hard workers indeed. Lots of towels sometimes needed just to get the sweat off the faces. And we will have a look further down to José Eduardo Rodrigues. And since we need to walk a couple of meters, Chess, maybe you might step in for a couple of seconds. That would be nice.
Yes, indeed. I certainly will. It's nice to still hear from Antonio. And that's one of the things, again, that we love about this paddock in this championship. You know, the drivers are always up for having a chat. They're always very keen to share what's going on and not just tell us as part of the media, but of course to tell everybody at home as well and give you all an insight as to what the problems may be, how they feel about it and how they may move forward and obviously get it fixed. And whether we're going to see them out in the next session, because obviously some of these weekends are very tightly packed and sometimes you only have maybe half an hour, 40 minutes between races. We've had some race weekends where drivers and teams have basically got the truck back, got it in the awning, changed the tyres, cleaned it a bit and then put it straight back out again. Drivers aren't even getting changed out of their overalls. They're just staying as they were, just hopping out, helping work on the truck maybe a little bit, get it all cleaned up and ready to go and then jumping straight back in. So, yeah, these weekends can be very tough on some of the teams. And it's always good to get a bit of an insight. We see Adam Lachko making his way down into the Bagheera awning there. You could just see Teo Calve giving some of the team a handshake as well after a great session for Teo. Finishing 5th overall in that one. That's a great turnaround after what was a bit of a bittersweet finish to yesterday's racing for him. With the contact we were all talking about with Jamie Anderson. And as Jamie said, you know, it's been sorted by the stewards and that's the end of it. You know, once it gets dealt with like that, that's what the drivers have to take as final. They may sometimes feel disgruntled about that and it may not go the way of... Well, it can't go the way of everybody at the end of the day. But they all respect the stewards and know that their decision is final. And there is Jose Eduardo Rodrigues backing the number 14 machine in. And it's been a very, very impressive weekend for him, to be honest. He's dominating the French Championship at the moment. He won every race at the Nürburgring. We were all watching trackside as he absolutely dominated every single race. And he has been a real driving force in that series. And he's certainly showing great promise here as well in the European Truck Racing Championship. Christine is there to have a chat with him and see exactly what he thought of that qualifying session. 8th position.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, the right cap is need to be taken on. It is. Parabéns, 8º lugar agora, depois do Super Bowl. Que está a dizer sobre isso? What do you say about the 8th place after Super Bowl?
Sim, conseguimos ser mais rápidos do que ontem. Estamos a conseguir evoluir, estamos a conhecer o carro. Estamos a sentir muito à vontade com a pista e penso que a primeira corrida vai ser um bocadinho emocionante para mim. Eu não estou habituado a andar no meio dos tubarões assim. Mas acho que vamos fazer uma boa prova e principalmente usufruir deste fim de semana.
So he said he's kind of showing what he really got because after race 1 he was impressed, of course, from the level of the competition. The FIA ETRC is really a good competition and he said, yes, we evolved and right now we do know what we have to do and we're trying to do it better in race number 1. A posição 8 que está o vosso plano para a corrida?
O nosso plano é principalmente tentar manter a posição, se possível conseguir subir mais algumas posições, mas acima de tudo queremos ser rápidos e conhecer o carro ao máximo e as condições são as melhores, estamos no meio dos melhores, por isso é que é o mais importante.
So he said we're trying to stick on that 8th place and maybe gain a little one place more ahead, maybe P7, is that what he's aiming for? And of course a good speed throughout the whole race, and that's the main goal. Esta competição está muito especial, está uma família grande aqui, que está a dizer o segundo dia também com os adeptos aqui em Bélgica. What do you say about this special competition, also the fans here back in Belgium?
Temos muitos apoiantes aqui, até portugueses. A Bélgica é sempre um circuito que mete muita gente, muita população e esperamos dar algum espetáculo para eles também, não é? E isso é o que é o mais importante.
Obrigado. Vamos ver um espetáculo.
Obrigado.
So you said, yes, we do have a lot of helping hands here. Also, many Portuguese fellows and women around here and giving the thumbs up. So you said, yes, we want to show spectacular scenes for the audience. And this is really good to hear with a smile on his face. And this is what we want to hear and see also as well from us, the spectacular scenes. So let's have a quick view, Chaz, at, yes, also the let's not call it highlights, but what do you think about the qualifying? I think it went really, really, really well. So I hear that you already left your racing seat. I'm sorry for that. So we will see us at 13:15 for the race number 3 in this weekend here. It's Belgium, and we're very happy to see the whole pack together. Unfortunately, Antonio Awateti will make it back from the grid. But yes, we will see this fella here from P8. Let's have a look at this truck. It is still in one piece. That's good news. So thank you very much for joining us. We will now provide you with some beauty shots of this day so far from the qualifying. I hope you had a lot of fun. Please tune in at 13:15. See you then.